Sometimes unexpected things show up on our layouts. Today I'm going to tell you about 6 such things on my layout, starting right now. I'm Roy Smith. Thanks for joining me. Back in 2014, when I began to plan for and build my layout, there were 6 things that I never expected to see on my layout. Well, guess what? All 6 have shown up. I want to tell you what those 6 things are, why I didn't expect them to be on my layout, and what caused me to change my mind about them. Before we get started, let me mention that I uploaded my 300th video this past Tuesday, and I've got tons of ideas for more videos. So be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it yet, because I don't want you to miss any of them. And one more thing, you will see lots of trains running in this video. I guarantee it. All right, the first of the 6 things, an Amtrak train. I can tell you that I did not expect any passenger trains to run on my layout when I began to build it in 2014. But a passenger train did appear on my layout in January 2017, namely the California Zephyr, which runs between Chicago and the San Francisco Bay Area. And here you see it on the prototype. Back then, I didn't plan to run any Amtrak trains on my layout because it discontinued its service across southern Wyoming in 1997. So I thought it would not be appropriate to run an Amtrak train on my present-day layout. But later on, I learned that Amtrak does run trains across southern Wyoming on occasion when its regular route across Colorado is closed, such as for track maintenance or wildfires. On this map, you can see the California Zephyr's route across Colorado in green, and the route that it takes when rerouted across Wyoming in gray. Once I learned this, I could justify running an occasional Amtrak train on my layout. I should note that Amtrak stops for crew changes at Green River, but makes no passenger stops when it takes this detour across southern Wyoming. In fact, all former passenger stations along this route have long since been donated to the local communities. Okay, let me show you the California Zephyr on my layout as it heads eastbound. It stops for a crew change at Green River and then continues eastbound. You can see a baggage car which I just added to my Amtrak train at the beginning of April. Eventually, I will add a second P42 Genesis diesel and 4 more passenger cars to the train to make it look more like the prototype. An Amtrak train, then, was the first of the 6 unexpected things to show up on my layout. The second unexpected thing to show up was 2 BNSF diesels starting in January 2018. You may be wondering why initially I didn't expect to run any BNSF diesels on my layout. Well, very simply, I am modeling the Union Pacific's Evanston Subdivision, and I didn't think BNSF diesels ran on the Subdivision. But as it turns out, they are spotted on the Subdivision on occasion. You might see them running in consist with UP diesels. I uploaded a video that same month in January 2018 when the BNSF diesels first showed up on my layout, explaining why you might see them on the Subdivision as foreign power. As it so happens, you see foreign power running just about everywhere nowadays. And that's great for us model railroaders who may be seeking a justification for running locomotives from various railroads on our layouts. Most likely, you will see them running as shared power or run-through units on the Evanston Subdivision. And on rare occasion, you might even see an entire BNSF train on the subdivision when the regular BNSF route across Colorado is closed and BNSF trains are diverted up to the route across southern Wyoming. I think the BNSF diesels look great running on my layout, and I'm glad I have been able to justify them prototypically. Double stacks were the third unexpected thing to appear on my layout. The first of several sets of double stacks arrived in February 2018. So why didn't I expect double stacks to appear on my modern era layout? Certainly they should be there. After all, something like 70% of the trains running on the Evanston subdivision are in fact intermodals. And the route that I am modeling is, in effect, a bridge route between the American Midwest and West Coast with heavy intermodal traffic. But I hesitated to run double stacks for a long time. First, I thought they would overhang my tight curves, but it turned out that the 40-foot container cars looked just fine on my curves. Second, I hesitated because there would be no switching of intermodals on my layout. There simply are no intermodal yards on the real Evanston subdivision. The nearest intermodal yards are located at Denver and Salt Lake City, both of which are off layout for me. But I'm glad I did finally start running intermodals on my layout. They look great and are very prototypical for a modern era layout. Fourth, a steam locomotive. I thought a steam locomotive would never appear on my modern era layout, but in June 2019, the Union Pacific steam locomotive 844 showed up right after I got back from a trip to the States where I bought it. At the same time, I bought an SD70 ACE number 1943 to run with 844, a 7-car Excursion train, and a set of tenders. All of these products are Catos, and I bought all of them at English's Model Railroad Supply in Montoursville, Pennsylvania. Why didn't I expect to see a steam locomotive on my layout? Obviously, because my layout is modern era, so I didn't think a steam locomotive would be appropriate. But as it turned out, I learned that 844 does run through the area I am modeling at the head of Excursion trains. That's all I needed to know to justify putting it on my layout. Along with 844, the UP's steam locomotive fleet also includes a Big Boy and a Challenger. Both of these were out of service but were brought back and restored. Unlike either the Big Boy or the Challenger, 844 was never retired from service. It has been running continuously since 1944. All three of the steam locomotives are home-based at Cheyenne, Wyoming. Something else appeared on my layout that same month in June 2019, following my trip to the States. A Scale Train's Big Blow Turbine as number 5 on my list of 6 things that I didn't expect to run on my layout. During that trip, I met up with a bunch of you at Steamtown in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and during that big get-together, Sparky 107 gave me the Scale Train's set consisting of an A and B unit and tender. I never expected to see a Big Blow running on my layout until Sparky gave me this amazing set, because the Union Pacific ran these GTELs, or gas turbine electric locomotives, from 1952 to 1970, long before the era that I'm modeling. What prototypical justification can I offer for running a Big Blow on my layout? None, I guess. I just happen to like it a lot. The UP has always sought to run the biggest, most powerful locomotives, and at one time it operated 55 of the GTELs. In fact, the UP was the only railroad to use them. Of course, there are no longer any of them in active service. 53 of them were scrapped, and only 2 of them remain, but both of them are on non-operational display in museums. Number 18 at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois, and number 26 at the Utah State Railroad Museum in Ogden, Utah. Number 26 is the prototype for the model on my layout. They were nicknamed Big Blows for the deafening noise they made when the turbines were running. Number 26 looks fabulous running on my layout. I'm delighted to have it there. And sixth, a caboose. The final thing I thought I'd never see on my layout was a caboose. Why? Because I didn't think a caboose would be appropriate on a modern era layout. As we all know, most railroads phased out their cabooses in the 1980s, including the Union Pacific. But guess what? There is a real caboose at Evanston, Wyoming. It sits there in the rail yards, rusting away. The UP donated it to the city of Evanston in 1988. Well, that's all the justification I needed to put a caboose on my layout. So I began to look for one when, lo and behold, Jason of the Train Freak channel sent me one in March. I put together a video about it in early April. In the video, you saw it being delivered to Evanston. Now I have a caboose on my layout. Of course, I still have to weather it heavily to match the prototype, but I think it looks great sitting there at Evanston. Now, how about you? Has anything showed up on your layout that you didn't expect? Tell us about it in the comments section down below. You can go back in time to watch each of these 6 unexpected arrivals. Just click on the links down below. Or you can click over here to watch these videos. Well, thanks for letting me share the arrival of these 6 unexpected things with you. As always, I'm Roy Smith. Until next time, happy railroading.